Hi. Welcome to this artist to artist session. Our facilitator for this session is Kevin. Kevin, wave to the crowd.
The crowd.
Hi. Yes, so Kevin will be taking us through this session, telling us a bit about his, maybe a lot about his journey as an artist. And you're free to ask him questions, as many as you can. So Kevin, welcome.
Thank you, Sam. First, I was actually brought up in Nairobi, in a place called the Eastlands. The Eastlands, kule wase wa mtaani mkuu. I'm talking of Jericho, I'm talking of Maringo. That is where I was brought up, and I was brought up in an area that people have a lot of talent. So if you are talented, you are just one of them. We had big names there. We had Tom Boyer there. We had Martin Shikuku there. We have Patrick Lumumba, PLO, from there. Musa Otieno, the footballer, from there. So it's a place that actually talent was something very important. And this is where I grew up. And there was also one sculptor called Charles Bwire, the person who did the dinosaur, which is at the museum. I grew up seeing him a lot. So generally where I came from, there's a lot of activities in terms of talent. So that's my background. Next I went to a primary school, also in Eastlands. Mahali panaitwa Ziwani. Nilifanya mpaka class 4. But by that time, nilikuwa nishajua niko na talent. Kwa sababu I love drawing a lot while still in primary school. So I was there until class 4. Then things changed. I had a road accident. So I had to shift to learn how to write with my left. That also changed a lot of things. And it actually it molded me the way I am today. Because I realized you can always change things. At first I thought, how do you write how do you start writing with the left hand if you're writing with the right hand? So to me that was quite a challenge. So that also changed, even in the way I think today. So at the moment I don't feel there's any challenge. I always feel that you can always do things in a different way. You don't have to do things in a given manner, in a straightforward manner. So I actually went to a special school, which was in Andor, now to learn to write and to learn to draw again. From there I went to a secondary school where there was no art, but I kept my art alive. And in secondary school I used to actually draw teachers. And there I used to get some payments. And that's when I realized, oh, in art you can also earn. At first I never thought it's something that you can always earn just directly like that. So from secondary school I shifted to several schools. One of them was St. Teresa's. St. Teresa's I went in from 3, where I found that they were doing art as a subject. So I had to pick between art and religion, which one I could do. So I decided to do art in from 3. I did an exam, A-level there, O-level. But then the paper that I thought I was going to pass, which was an art subject, I actually failed completely because I had a lot of confidence. I thought I could answer any question in that paper. So I didn't read even the instructions. I just picked the paper and I just went ahead. And that was a major blunder for me. Because I realized it was a paper for 2 hours, but I realized the mistake after taking about 1.5 hours. So I had to start again. I was doing a private candidate's question rather than doing the question for people who were at school, because that paper used to be inclusive. So you had to pick your section. And that is what confidence now brings. So I actually failed in that paper. but I still felt that I'm still an artist. So after that, I did my O-levels privately to do the art paper, to repeat the art paper. Then I also did my A-levels as a private candidate now, but I also did art. Now that's the part of the education of art that I have. From there now I went to a lot of research work. In Eastlands we have libraries, so I used to do a lot of research work. And that is where I came to learn about art history. Because there were a lot of books in that library. Then from there, I just went straight to business. I did a bit of matatu business before venturing into art again, which is interesting. And this was purely for money's sake. I thought that still I could not survive as an artist. So I had a stint with a matatu for like 1 year. Then from there I realized, no, I'm still an artist, so I have to go back. So I started painting. I actually did several watercolor pieces and took them to Gallery Watatu. At Gallery Watatu there was this lady, Ruth Schaffner. She actually picked about 5 pieces, and within 2 weeks she had sold about 4. To me that was a big plus, and I felt it was an encouragement on my side. So I never stopped now being an artist. That's a brief history, so that's how I started. I don't want to continue without any questions coming, so I want to make it an open session where you can ask me questions. So that's the first part. So mtu yote akona swali na nimefika hapo anazauliza. Yeah.
For how long was that? And at what point did you decide to go on?
Actually, I did the matatu for 1 year because apparently when I had a road accident, there was some money that was paid to my account. So the money was actually in my account for many years without even me knowing, because my dad didn't tell me about it. So when I reached 18, I had now access to the cash. So me, I thought, why not buy a matatu? Because now I feel that, I'm a grown-up and I feel I can do things. So when I bought this matatu, I was actually flying with Nairobi, Nakuru. So I was the owner. So I had 2 guys. I had the driver, I had the conductor for 1 year. But the matatu again had an accident. So I now had to fight with the insurance to try and pay me some cash in regards to the accident. So there was that stint, and it only went for a year. So that is when I realized, even though I'm trying to take my life in another angle, I'm actually not a businessman. I'm actually an artist. So I realized that I was wasting a lot of time in courts, especially about that vehicle. It took about 3 years. I thought, this is bullshit. So I was going to court, but at the same time, I started doing it.
What kind of arts were you taking to the
Watercolor paintings. They were the size of a 5, not a 5, like 3 A4. Or not very big, like 3 A4, like this size, but 3 of them. That size. That is what I was doing, but purely watercolor, and it was to do with village life. That is what I used to do.
You say you self-taught or you learned?
Yeah, self-taught.
At that time, what were Kenyan artists who were inspired?
Actually, the first person who is not quite common, but he used to move around when we were very young. I used to see this guy as early as the 70s, 72, 73, 74. There's a guy called Ringo. Ringo used to move from one estate to another. And what Ringo used to do is to paint in bars. And he never used to change his clothes. He always had his brushes, carrying the brushes, a small bag, and he used to move from one part to another and public spaces. He used to paint in the walls. He used to paint for people who shave barbers. He used to draw saloons. So this is the first person who I actually felt that was doing something that I can relate to. So now that's where I now started feeling, well, I'm an artist and I can be like this guy. But what I didn't like about him, he was very dirty. I think because he used to clean his brushes and his clothes, but he never used to change. And he always moved like from, if he starts from Roraka, because we used to say Roraka, he'd finish in Kawangware. Passed through town, and he had so many paintings in town also. But this I came to learn later when I was able now to get into a farm. That is when I realized, oh, so Ringo also used to paint in town inside this farm. So to me that was quite an inspiration. But he used to work with oils. But almost every kid used to know him because he used to just walk around. So to me that was my first inspiration in terms of painting. And the only thing I've seen about Ringo, if you look at the Arvin's book, I think I've seen something that he did still there.
Maybe I'm interested to know just in that period, what was art scene? Let me talk of art scene, but what things that were around you that you could comfortably describe as art or any artistic activities, groups, individuals whom you surrounded yourself?
This came at a later stage when I went to Kuona Trust to present my work. That is, after moving around town, I used to see a lot of galleries we used to call them galleries, but they were just shops. But the only real gallery that I saw was Watatu. And I felt quite close to Watatu. And I felt that what I was seeing there was close to me. And the artist I saw there, I think one of the first sculptors I saw was from Wanzhao. That is Wanzhao's dad. And then there was Jack. And then there was Fred Oduor, the late. There were some other names, but I cannot recall all the names. Yeah. And then there was another Zairian who used to do a lot of batik work, and used to have his works along what I call shops in town, which was quite common. Actually, the batik artist came from Uganda. When they entered Kenya, they came from Uganda because of the war. So the first refugees, the first people I knew as refugees were Zairians. And they're the ones who were now painting batik in town. So that's the environment. That is what I see. And then in terms of young people, I was very young compared to the people I was seeing. These guys were old. But me, I felt that even though they are old, I can also do them. I never felt that to me is a challenge. I also wanted to be like them. Yeah.
My question was in relation to what you just said. But then you said you started drawing before your accident. How old were you at that time?
When I started drawing?
When you realized that you can draw very well and you were enjoying it.
Yeah.
You were at what age?
That was, I was 12 years.
What was your inspiration at that time? Was there a family member who was an artist or a creative, or were they also supportive when it came to your drawing?
Actually, there was a desk mate.
Yeah.
This guy used to come from Kambani. I still remember his name because it's very hard to forget. He was called Kuona Trust. So in class, when the teacher is busy there, I'm looking at what he's doing. But back home, what he was doing is what I'm going to do. So there's that. But that is the time I realized, oh, I'm an artist. I'm just wondering whether we should move on or there's any other pressing question.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I guess I'm a bit curious about what it was like being an artist or aspiring to be an artist during the time that you started. And where would you meet other artists, or how did you get to start learning? Was it only through the gallery, or was there a place that you would congregate to have, conversations or know each other? Or was it very individualistic?
To me, it was very individualistic. The fact that the first person who actually made it look much more official was Ruth. Otherwise, you are just an artist as an individual, purely as an individual. If you go to a gallery, you go as an individual and you don't meet the other artists. Because when you're going to these galleries, you go alone. But during Ruth's time, that is now when I realized, oh, so this is a career that people just follow. You can find some other artists. At first I never thought it that way, and I never saw it that way. I just knew, to me, it's like a calling, that this is what I want to do, and I'm ready to do it at whatever cost. I should say that my dad was not quite supportive about being an artist, because he was an accountant. So if you are trying to say that you want to be an artist, what is that? Yeah? So there's also that part.
Did you have an interest in those artists who were coming to you? Because I can't remember which day it is, but there's a particular day when the artists were coming and they take the work and you meet a lot of artists there. So did you used to involve with those artists get together?
Yes, actually when I took my first batch of paintings, that is when I saw that artists actually used to go there, sit, live and mingle. When I took the second batch, I met 3 artists and actually made friends with 3 artists. One of them was Mick. And I met Mick there. There's another Mzee, his name is not coming. And he was actually having an exhibition, and because as a young artist, my work could not just be displayed. So during his exhibition like this, my work was put in a corner. But the exhibition is his. And the reason was just to promote me, and I even asked Ruth, why is it that my work is hidden? And Ruth told me, you still don't have a name. So you need these guys who are already in the field to actually be together with them, and so that your work is also known. And that is where now mingling came in, because Ruth was also ready to give us paint, which he did at one time. She actually gave me some paint, because she realized the issue of an artist not having cash for material. And these are the sessions that now you meet. You find that you've gone for paint, me have gone for paint, the other person has gone for watercolor paper. These are things that were not just affordable. So there's that, but it was a bit formal. It was not so official. It was not so official, and especially where I'm coming from, the other person is coming from the other end. So you don't just meet at the same time at times. You meet once in a while. So that used to happen like that.
Back then it was like the main supplier of art material, and they still working now.
Yeah, science.
It was just science school still.
Yeah, the science book.
Same lady.
And then there was another shop on Moi Avenue. I don't remember the name, but I don't remember the name, but it was bigger than Science School. It was a very big show. Yeah, elite bookshop.
The cross junction over there, right?
Yes. There was another. They used to sell a lot of art materials, but it was the biggest shop. So there's that. But when it comes to buying paint and buying what you do as a professional, you feel this is professional paper, so that you stop painting from a normal paper. That was a tall order, because you need that money to do that. And the people to give you that money is either you and your pocket money. You can't just go and ask your parent that, oh, I need paintbrush. And then you talk of 100 shillings. That's a lot. Because 100 shillings, that is like five ungas of ugali. No. Kwa sababu unga ilikuwa ni kama 20. So, how? So there's that.
And is there still that respect for what is professional art material? And if you use any other medium, then you're not really an artist? Because I remember immediately after high school, I was taking my works around to galleries, and they were like, okay, the work is good, but artists don't paint on bed sheets. You need to use canvas. Did you have this problem still?
To me, this always comes up, especially when you also feel that now you are a professional. You want to be like others. You want to, if Soy is painting on something quality, that is what you also want to use to gauge yourself and feel that you are professional. So you end up, even if you try to avoid, you actually don't create. You just go for what you feel is others are using. And that was quite common. It's something that to me it was just planted. Yeah. So you could not even think outside the box. You are always in the box, always in the box. It's only after I saw there's this guy who used to use biro pen, ball pen plus crayon, plus colored pencil. It's called the Swago. That is when I realized, oh, so you can just use a pen and a normal colored pencil and still have quality work, depending on the presentation. Because if you could look at Oswago's piece and it's being presented, that's totally a different thing from what you are seeing on a sketch pad. Yeah. So to me, there's the issue of presentation and the issue of quality in terms of material. But later on, we realize we can innovate. But still, you have to maintain the standard. Yeah. So I think I've talked about education. Talked about not having gone to a school where guys are just taught to do art. I'm self-taught. I realized that when I took my work to Ruth, now because I felt that I had sold, and to me that money was a lot. It was like 20k, and 20k was my dad's salary per month. So me, I felt, this is what I should do. So when now I decided that now I'll be going to a part to take work, Ruth now decided to dictate. She now started seeing things that I was not seeing. But now, okay, you are drawing like this, now I want you to draw like this, like that. To me that was quite difficult because I felt that she was trying to put something that I don't have. Me, I wanted to draw and paint the way I want, but not to be dictated. But she's the person selling, and she's the person who is willing to give me the paint. So at that point I was got disappointed, but also divided in a way that I have to make a decision whether to follow what she's saying or to stop. And the last time I went there again, I went with about 20 pieces, and we looked at the pieces together, and then we were picking the pieces. She was telling me she likes this, I tell her, yeah, I like that. Then we were putting them on the side. Then she told me, okay, may I like this, you like those ones, take them home. That is how it goes. So I felt that I was being dictated to do what I don't want to do or what I don't like. Yeah, so that is how I actually, I hope I've answered some of these questions. I just stopped. But I thought, I'm still not getting to where I want to get to. So now I ended up now working with clay. Decided I was going to be a sculptor. Stopped going to a tattoo. Start going to African heritage. I used to see a lot of Maasai heads, clay pieces displayed as you pass by the street. So I thought, now that is what I want to do. And me, when I thought, this is what I want to do, I don't stop there. I start immediately. So I actually went sharks, some kilometers away in Kisumu. I could stay there for a month, learn how to prepare clay from women who used to make pots, prepare the clay, pack it, take a bus to Nairobi. My mom's house, sit down, start working on the pieces of clay, Maasai heads. That is how I started. But then these heads had their own, some guys were now professionals in making heads. So I realized that I was not as good as them, but I still felt that this is what I want to do. So every Tuesday and every Friday, I used to take these Maasai heads to African Heritage, which is now Lono House. And when you take them there, it used to be like, you used to call it a market. Tables are set, you come with your pieces, you place them on the table. Then there was one lady, she used to move around and check each piece. And then when they pick your pieces, you get the money there and there. It used to be like a small head like this used to be around 200 shillings. But you have to burn it. It means that it has to take time to dry. You take it there, she checks. If it's okay, you get the cash money. So I used to find this to be quite a good way of surviving. So every Tuesday and every Friday I used to have heads to take to African Heritage. Then in the evening, there used to be this African Heritage band where we used to see this famous Ogada, Ogada, Kasule. They used to play a band there. Now this is how now, to me, my life in art just started getting another totally different dimension. Then there now you meet people who specialize in making Maasai heads. Now I'm out from the other side of gallery, now I'm onto this other side of curio. So now I started working on heads. But I realized that after I worked on heads for about a year, and I'm like, how come every day I wake up, I'm just making the same head. Same head, same head. Same head. Maasai, Turkana, Luo, Kikuyu. Just like that. I realized that is not the life that I want. Yes, my pocket was fine, but this is not what I want. So I was very sure that is not what I want. So now, what do? I go back to the gallery again to be chased and to be told this is what you should do. I decided, there's this famous sculptor around where I was living. The guy I'm saying who did the dinosaur. I decided to pay him a visit. And by that time he was doing commissions. So when I visited the guy, at first I got into the studio very comfortable. Later he told me, no, you can't just be coming here like that. What do you want? What do you do? I said that I'm an artist. He told me artists are not allowed now. So they had to move out. So now I realized I'm back again alone. So now it means either you read from the books or you end up at African Heritage doing the clay. I decided, okay, I've decided to be a sculptor, that is what I'm going to do. These guys work with this material, I'm going to look for his assistants, they tell me where I can find the materials. That is how I started getting into casting, without even knowing. And then I realized, also this needs a lot of research. We were not lucky enough to be Googling things, so you either end up in the library. So I actually became a member of the Macmillan Library in town, in Buruburu and in Kaloleni. Because we had city council libraries in those estates. So now I started doing a lot of research work. From there, ended up at the museum. Because I had guys who were doing casting there. So bit by bit, making mistakes and learning how to do this thing they call casting. Then at one time, a friend of mine called Oduor tells me, Kevo, there's a space here, can you come? We do something. There's a head here that I can't work on. That is how I ended up now at the museum. The museum which was called, that time we used to call Kuona had a different name. It used to be called Nairobi something. But I'll remember that name. Nairobi something. So that is how now I ended up at Kuona. So there's that part now. And that is now where now I started being a serious sculptor.
It's not really a question. There's this statement that people use, and I think people use it very recklessly, for lack of a better word. When you started, you told us you're self-taught. But then the more you speak, you say you did research, you went to learn casting from people at the museum. With that information, do you still consider yourself self-taught?
Yes.
Does anybody teach themselves anything?
The reason why I still consider myself self-taught, it's very simple. One, I did not go into any institution to be taught how to do ABCD. Two, to me that's the first reason. Two, I had to do my own research. Nobody was seated telling me you have to paint light, dark and dark. I did my own research. To me that is why I didn't sit somewhere being taught those things.
I think I still don't agree with you, because I think people mistake not going to art school for being self-taught. If you look at European art history, which is the most best recorded, all those big names never went to school. There's a term called apprenticeship. Is that it?
Yeah.
And you may not go to school, but you studied under somebody's wing. What you do with all these young people, if one day they say they are self-taught, don't you think they'll be giving you a disservice? You taught them, you guided them. You don't have to answer. It's just my opinion on this term called self-taught.
My feeling is that if you're an apprentice, that's totally different. Because it means you have somebody guiding you. And that is why I'm saying if you're self-taught, you make it's mistakes that guide you. You make so many mistakes. And the mistakes that I've done in the process, I even did sculptures that never came out of the mold. That you do a work and you never see it again. So to me, these are things that you learn that nobody is ready to sit down and tell you this is what you're supposed to do. And so when I went through what I'm saying, when I went to Charles Bwire, I went because I wanted to be an apprentice. I wanted to be taught. I didn't want to teach myself. I wanted somebody to guide me and tell me this is the way you should do it. To me that helps a lot because it gives you a mileage. But if you have to make mistakes, it's better the other people who are coming should not make the same mistakes that you did. They should be ahead in a way. And that is why I talk of being self-taught. Because you learn through your own mistakes. Unless there's anybody with a question, because I still want to move on. Because
So these heads that you were how did you learn it?
this is very interesting because I still have one head that I did that time. When I was working on a face, I used to work on a face like a painter. If you look at what I was making, because I used to paint, I used to be a painter. So I never used to see things in 3D. And that is what I expected this other guy to tell me. In 3D, this is the way you see things. So my faces were sort of flat. If you look at them, they are flat. If you look from the front, but from the side, you can't see this. It's totally flat. So it's like you're drawing. You are just drawing. To me, that was actually good. I don't know the master in the system.
So this is what those are the community used to
And don't forget, that is indigenous. You know, it's like, you see the way you see the masks. You know, if you look at a mask from the side, you don't see the profile clearly. It's nowadays that people have started realizing these things. As you are doing things flat like this. Because you are a painter. And that's the way you see things. And that is where now this self-taught thing comes in. So you make these mistakes, then you realize, oh, there's this profile. And that is why now research and reading comes in and looking at people. Because me, I was interested in making faces and making people. So even in a bus, you look at a person from this side, from the back. That is when you realize, oh, okay, it's different from painting. But if I was in a class, to me, I could not have passed through that. Could have been ahead. Because you understand easily, you understand. So should I continue from the heads again? Because from the heads now, I got tired of the heads. I still needed some pocket money. I decided to do my own thing. I got a first commission from another guy called Christab. Christab was a Mr. Kenya some years back. He's the person who actually commissioned me the first head that I did independently. So after that, I realized I know a bit of casting, I know a bit of play. Why not make beats? Me, I kept on jumping. So I thought, now these heads are very boring. I want to make beads. There are so many people who can buy necklaces. So I started making necklaces. And I did a lot of necklaces for like 1 full year. And I used to do them on consignment. I used to take them to the offices. I used to have point people in different places. I used to know a few guards so that you can be let in. So I used to supply a lot of necklaces, but they were also made from resin and clay. But then that also became boring. Because how comes the whole year, yes, your pocket is lined, but you feel that your creativity is limited. So I used to feel that limit all the time. Anything I'm trying to do, I feel there's a limit. But along the way, I didn't know I was gaining experience. I didn't know that the clay heads were giving me some experience in terms of modeling. When I did necklaces, I was already on design without knowing. So I kept on moving. So when now Kuona comes into the picture, I'm at the museum working on a head of a guy called Abansin. Because the head had been there for 1 year and the guy who was working on it was not getting the face right. And that is now the way things now started changing. And the experiences that I got from clay, from beadwork, from painting, if I combine those three, that is what I'm doing now. There's a lot of experience in those things. So it's like what I was doing, I'm ignoring at the same time. all of them, when they add up to something that is valuable. But beads, I used to supply also in some shops. There are some gallery at Mutaiga. I also used to supply there. So this also went on sometimes. Then I just stopped full time into sculpture. And the second commission that now I got was from the Catholic Church. I didn't know that my talent was growing, but it seems some people realized that it was growing, which I didn't know until I started now getting this commission. So the second commission was actually from the Catholic Church, and the person who gave me was also an artist who I had met. He's called Kinata. But he told me the piece was going to somewhere in Laikipia. But the piece is somewhere here. There's a place here where the Catholic have Akilandingi Mwananziki, they stay there. Once you retire, you stay there. That is where I saw the piece resting while we were here. Me, I was even surprised. So there's that. I'm actually heading now into sculpture and into commissions. So that is when I realized, okay, you can do art for commissions.
Sorry, let me just think about it.
Yeah.
This piece that you sold, when you looked at it, now that you know where it is, is there anything that you learn? You know, sometimes you look at your piece and you're like, I wish I knew did you have those moments like when you saw that piece? You just saw that piece. It's perfect, yes.
When I saw it first, I thought it was totally done by a different person. Yet I know this. To me, that was my first feeling. So I did this like this. I didn't know I did it like this. So what I did here is what I'm seeing now on this other side. But that time when I was doing it, I didn't see it in that way. But if you give me the same piece, definitely I'll do it in a totally different form, different way. But I felt that I had actually moved on. Even now, if I look at that piece, I still feel I moved a step forward. But now that is now the world of commissions. That is now when I now started doing commissions.
That first commission that you did, were you at Kuona when it was at museum, or where were you?
The first commission that I did was by this guy. He was a Mr. Kenya, he's called Mr. Nowadays he's in the US. He's been there for quite some time. I did it actually in my mother's house. So that was the first one. The second one, the second commission, I was at Kuona, but I didn't do it there. I did it in Car West, because that is where the guy wanted me to do it. So I did it in someone's house, but it ended up here.
Was he referred to you?
I think he gave out the idea that he can do it, but he could not do it. So he called me, knowing that I could do it. But later on, when it came to payment, I was not lucky enough to get the full payment. I actually got half the payment, and the rest he actually gave me a rotor machine, because that is what he had, and he did not pay me, so I didn't mind. I didn't mind taking the machine. So my last payment was actually a gadget. I learned about the commission in the newspaper. That is when the government made an official tendering process through the papers, the 3 papers. This is where I came to learn what they wanted done. I went and took the papers for tendering, and I realized that I was not qualified. They needed an institution, and this is a condition that they conduct tender. That if you are not an institution, you cannot take that. So I I went to Kuona, and that is the truth. Kuona was a bit reluctant to take the commission. I went to go down. The go down was relaxed to take the commission. We talked, me and Kaigo. The day we talked, I talked to Kaigo about the commission. The following day he came with the papers. And that same day he came with the papers. I was actually called immediately to came. That, oh, there's this thing, want you to come do. You might start. So we need to do a presentation, we need to give us the portfolio. That is what they told me. So me now, I was weighing. Kaigo is not an institution. Kuona is an institution, but was not ready to take the work. The go down was an institution, but they didn't believe. But me, I knew I was going to do this work, but I was sure I didn't want to go to do it somewhere else. To me, that was coming. I saw it coming. So when the KU called me, I just went straight. So now they tell me, okay, there's this one, you need to take it, but you are the one to do it. You are the one to do the work. Can you do a small maquette? A maquette is a small skirt of about 1.5 feet. Of this guy called Kimari. We are ready to furnish you with images, even video. So can you do it overnight? I said, yeah, I can do it overnight. I did it for 2 days. I slept there. So finally I came up with a maquette, gave them my portfolio. We agreed they were going to present my portfolio. They designed the lower part that you find the statue standing on, the bling. So that is how it started. So after that, the verdict came, and I was told we are in. And my competitor that time was a guy called Kevin Oduor, who presented, but he came late, tendering process. The other person is going to be a friend. So that is how I actually got involved in that project. Kenya government was the plan. There was a lot of money involved, but there's a certain percentage that the institution was supposed to take, because that money was not coming out automatically. It means that even if I was given that tender individually, I was supposed to do it with my own money, which was not going to happen. And to me, I think that is why the two institutions were a bit reluctant to take it. So that is why we applied. That's how we got the pen. But I was now the artist. So I worked on the piece for, it was 1 full month, with about 3 hours of sleep, because it was recent. And the dates had been set. And where the bronze casting was to be done, they were closing down at Mount Bronze. So it means that I was keeping both the dates. I was keeping the date when the sculpture is supposed to be inaugurated, and at the same time making sure that I finish before Mount Bronze also closes. So there was a lot of pressure, So Nyamo, I think that is where I can answer what you're saying. But to me, I'm not fighting so much about the name now, because I I knew that even later I was going to do some work that would complement that. Because if you do one job, and people say it's not you, and they see another one, and they see another one, then there's no of it. To me, there's no of it. And then one thing that I did, which was right, I documented a lot while I was working. And that actually is what keeps my name still. Because I was documenting every day, even at night. I have even videos I was documenting.
Maybe it's always very challenging. It's always, for example, that's what images that
Not images alone.
several things.
Yes. What was happening, the images that the government actually provided images, but they provided images of a man without a rasta. They provided images of a teacher. They provided an image of a young man who actually had photo of a shop. To them, those were the images that they had. And then there's this important image that I used most of the time, which is also the video. The video actually came from National Archives. And this video shows Kimathi being arrested, the way he was standing, and that is why I was able to see the side view. I could tell the eye, because he's moving, they're moving him around. So I kept on stopping. It's like you watch the image, then you slow it down like that. At times I just used to sit down and just look at it until it gets complete. So it's not only about photo. It's about seeing that person. And that is why later there was a lot of argument whether it's him. But what people had not realized is that most of the people have never seen the video of Kimathi, let alone the one you see in t-shirt, because that one, the guy is lying down, and the photographer, the way he was taking that photograph, was taking it in a position that that person is lying down. Then graphically, they decided to do it up graphically. But me, I was looking at the video, and for sure that was quite helpful. Yeah. And then, as we talk about commission, there was a lot of argument about reality. The first reality is that Kimathi was not putting on a jacket, yes, but the jacket was small size. It was not his size because he had taken it from a colony. So it was not his size. Even the gun was not his. And he was not putting on those shoes. He was putting on safari. And he had a missing, one of his fingers is missing. Now there was a lot of argument whether that finger should be included, the one that is missing. So there's so much that had to change, and this is according to public image. That we don't want a hero who has one kidole missing, which we cannot give a reason, and it was not because of the war. So there was that attitude. So now these are challenges to the artist. The jacket he was putting on is smaller. I decided to fit it. The wife, Mukami, said this guy had started developing the matako. And then there was an argument, how can you make a hero ule akona matako? Ati tumbo pia ilikuwa kukuja. So there's that, and these are challenges actually to the artist. So you can actually do an artwork of a particular person and you're commissioned to do it.
Why was it a challenge to you? That is exactly what the client wants. Your work is to just do what the client wants.
to me it was a challenge because me I felt, I'm seeing this person. I'm feeling this person. I know this is the way this person looks. But now someone is saying, no, we can't put that. You see? To me that is like also interfering with the work of an artist. And this comes especially when it comes to commissions. People can always come and dictate. Jeanette, I hope you had that today. Yeah. And they can even dictate in terms of dressing.
But isn't that why it's called a commission? Because there's a look as a client that I want to portray out there. And I'm calling you as an artist to help me portray that I have. It's not like your own personal work, but you can be the way you want. So you have been commissioned to do exactly what you like. So you should be flexible and happy to do just that.
But that is what I do. I'm flexible, I can flex. But it doesn't mean that I like. To an artist, I can put it directly that this happens, but it happens not because I like it, no.
Maggie says it exactly like it is, which goes back to what Johi was asking about signature. The person who commissions the work has the full rights, and they decide what they want as a sculpture. If you check universally, all the public sculptures, especially the ones commissioned by the government, they don't want the artist's name or signature. And the most prominent one was there's this huge Mandela sculpture in Pretoria after he was buried, where these guys tried to be clever about it, and they did a small rabbit in the ear. It was discovered, I think, after 6 months. And the whole art world went around trying to figure out what it means. Other people thought it was an insult, other people thought it's the speed by which the sculpture was done. But the artist's signature is like the Playboy banner. And the only way they could have that in the sculpture was hide it in the ear canal. So clever artists find ways to leave a mark to show the sculpture was done by them. But on Johi, there are things you can't control. So it's not about Kevin and Kimathi. It's universal practice. Realistically, it's the person who is paying. That's the reality.
Realistically, if Kevin did it,
Yeah, we all know that.
someone else would have done it. Okay. But the history of this country needs to know the massive that
That's a story for another day. It's Kevin's moment.
So there's the issue of monies. People assume in commissions, people assume if you're doing art. From the way when we started the discussion, I talked about my pocket. I talked about making Maasai heads. I talked about making beads just to keep my pocket afloat. To me, it's because I always felt all the time that what I'm doing is not compensating on the side of the pocket. But later now, as a sculptor, now that has become a major issue. To me now, I think money comes in also completely. So I don't want to lie to someone that I didn't need money even before, and that is why I was doing all these Maasai heads and beads. So art and money, that also becomes a totally different issue that needs a lot of discussion for another day. Unless someone else has another question.
Regarding to the money. Because you're doing this small stuff, and now you're doing a major capital. Did you have to consult a lot in terms of knowing how to remunerate yourself for the job you do?
I think it came with losses. First, I didn't know exactly how to, I should say, evaluate value what I'm doing and translate it into cash. It was very easy for me to translate material into cash, to know that I'm going to use this much of material, this will cost me that. That was quite easy for me. But when it came to valuation, especially of the work, I came to actually understand much later, after several mistakes. But now I'm able to actually evaluate and know what I'm supposed to be paid. And that is where we can bargain. But it's worth noting. I'm talking about the money aspect, but there's also the technical aspect of the work. If you are commissioned something and somehow along the way things are not working your way in terms of material, in terms of time, then you need to be very innovative. If you go and install a sculpture and you find that what you thought was enough to install that sculpture is not working, I think you should be bold enough to even tell the client, this is what I thought, this is not working, can we change? I think this is the best way to do it, and this is what I feel is right. You should not shy away, because I feel guys are applying for commissions, but they should also know that at times the way you want it to come out, at times it fails. Even me, I fail at times. But I'm ready to actually talk to the client without fear, because that's the truth. So implementation is different. Implementation can mean a totally different amount than what you said before. So it's important to always have some leeway, and even to say that this can change. But that comes in terms of commission. Come on, check. Unless kuna mpenye swali. Na mtu asingoje uniulize saa hii.
People always introduce you as this is Kevin, the guy who did the math. Are you okay with that, or do you feel that Kimathi defines you, that you have a lot of other work? Is it something that bothers you?
At first I used to feel shy about it. I used to feel that my name is actually bigger than me. Yeah, so, but nowadays I'm a bit comfortable, because that is what people, they see me, they see Kimathi. I don't have a problem with that. So to me that is just a mind. You add me in mind.
So how do you define art? Are you commission artist?
Commission oriented.
Yeah, because are you driven by commissions, or do you have work that you can say, these are my works, other than those commissions don't define what I do? These are my pieces.
Also, I think, can I just tag on so you can answer the question? It was interesting to see you venturing into more creative, if I can call it that, work with your exhibition that you did a couple of years ago, and 1 and 2 series of both. But I'm also curious, as Maggie is, how commissions affect any other work that you do that is not commission related as an artist.
I think I'll answer that. So it's a bit tricky. And I'll answer it in I'll start from the museum. At the museum, when I started doing this commission, actually Jude used to question a lot, and Rob Barnett also used to question a lot, because they were saying that a lot of time I'm not concentrating in creating my own work, and that is not the route to follow, and that I had many times. You're not supposed to do commissions. It's something that almost got stuck in me, but I realized that it's true, commissions take a lot of your time, a lot of your time, a lot of concentration, but you don't actually have enough time to do any other thing. I've been struggling with that, and I still struggle with that. Doing my own work has been a bit of a headache, but I do a lot of experiments, and my experiments also come in the form of the materials I use. I've done welding, I know how to weld. I've done found objects, I know how to do that. So I don't have that time. To me, it's the time that is the issue. When you do a lot of commissioned work, you don't have any other time to try and concentrate on something that you personally want to feel satisfied. Because what I want to feel satisfied also doesn't come with that money immediately. That's the main difference. So there's that, to me I call it interference, there's that interference. Especially because you can start doing your work, then the following day a guy comes with a commission, a serious commission. Do you leave your work or do you finish your work based on the commission? The commission has a timeline. There's that. There's a catch, it's only catch something, catch 22 something. I'm neither here or there. It happens all the time.
Personally, what do you want? Do you want to do commissions? Do you want to do your own work?
I wish I could do my own work, because of late I've preferred to start dictating to upcoming artists rather than do it all the time. I'm learning to try and trust somebody else that you can do something that will fully satisfy me without me touching my dictating especially, and only touching where it is necessary. It is that route that I've now started following, so that I can also later on get my time, so that they run independently. But trusting another person to do what you feel you can do is also becoming a challenge, because it's like that person really has to understand the way you want things done. And that is where apprentice comes in. And with the young generation, I feel that is what I should be doing, and that is what I'm doing.
And again, US is not a unique case. During the Renaissance, all those artists never made work for themselves. It was all commissioned. So it again goes back to what's the role of an artist. To give us monuments and public work, or to be in the studio or create all these fantastic romantic works.
But given the time and money, I'll do my own work. The problem is that they don't come together.
But maybe you should self-fund yourself. You don't have to wait for money from outside. You should self-fund yourself from your commissions so that you can do your own.
Same time, not the money.
We said time and money.
I'm saying time and money,
Now
both
you
of
have
them.
the money. So this is the time.
No, I still need the money.
I just want to ask another question in regards to a lot of the artists you work with, the younger artists that mentored and that have worked alongside you and are now practicing artists of their own. It's quite interesting to see you do this work, but you don't mention that when you talk about yourself. And I think you played a really big role in kind of bringing up quite a number of artists here, even the ones sitting here, some of them, can still, claim some of the skills and techniques and introduction into the arts through your practice? And is that something that you feel you want to add into your statement, CV, because I think you're responsible for a lot of that.
I can answer that by saying that in terms of consultation, even now, I'm always consulted from different quarters, especially to do with different types of art. And it's true I've mentored many, but I always feel that when they talk, when the time comes, they are going to talk about that.
Maybe they can say something. Karam is here, Shak was here.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, I'd rather leave them to do that rather than this.
But I think don't be shy to say, actually I've mentored many, because I feel like there's a lot of kids or younger artists or emerging artists or already established artists now who have learned a lot.
I'm a bit shy to mention that. The reason why I'm a bit shy, there are people who don't like that being mentioned. I know. So I feel when the time comes, then one day say, okay, this is how it started. I started like this, like that, like that.